don't think it's an underdog anymore because you are clearly at the top of the ladder, Lyon. You ain't fooling anyone right now as the Chiefs ban away Malzahar as we hop into Champion Select for game number 2 of day 4. There's going to be Gangplank following up. So Gangplank on the blue side, of course, noting the fact that Swiper doesn't necessarily play that champion all that often. Nah and Rek'Sai taken away by Lyon so far. And there's the Lucian banned away from White Lotus. Looks like the Chiefs have been watching the Lyon Gaming games.
Yeah, and so that nice Lucian Trundle or Lucian Braum lanes that we've been seeing from Lyon now has to change up because White Lotus's efficiency on this champion, its flexibility, because Lucian is a flexible champion, is too strong. So they just want to take it away from him, see what he can go towards. If he plays the Ashe, then obviously he's limited by the champion kit. And if he plays the Jhin, it's the same. You can kill them quite easily.
Well, that's the Karma locked in first here by the Chiefs. They did this against Albus Nox Luna, I believe, as well. Trying to grab that one up as soon as they possibly could. Ejim was the one that played at that time, but we know that Swiffer can pick it up at the same time. But does give over a lot of big picks to Lyon if they want them. Tahm Kench comes to mind most definitely.
Yeah, interesting that we see the Karma first pick. Not a lot is available. That's probably why Gragas is up. Once Rek'Sai is down, so I guess they're not worried about it simply because Elise is available and Lyon.
Both Spooks and Oddie play Elise very, very well at the same time.
Exactly, and I would expect Oddie to really favor that Elise all the same. So keep the picks, keep them guessing. To say the least.
Well, Echo's available as well, but Ashe is going to be the pickup here as Jaral locks that one away for White Lotus, and Gragas is picked up by Oddie.
Yeah, so I kind of expected that. Ashe, they do want to keep their lanes strong. Ashe can continue to shove regardless of the lanes, so well done on that regard. But of course, White Lotus is an incredible player. He showed that with Lucian, so taking that away from him does limit his options, his mobility, so you can target him. Assassin picks. I like the hover from LeBlanc.
Yeah, I like it as well. Last time we saw Swiffer on the world stage with that LeBlanc, did do some pretty terrifying things. I remember him insta-killing a full tank Gragas, which I had never seen before. But it happened, and Vladimir is going to be locked in, a champion that we may have overlooked, as Shen's picked up as well, so definitely a support Karma as the Chiefs lock away their solo lanes.
Yeah, it's fairly easy to overlook Vladimir as of late. A lot of champions do look to shove him in. That's one of his strongest points usually, especially in the last meta where he could just consistently shove out the lane, have that wave clear, have the trade potential, and on top of that, he can stay in that lane for a very long time just based off of his sustain. No mana pool, obviously, so great pickup, especially since they have the Karma, so there's no real threat to Lyon really picking a lane that can really tussle against it. I guess Cassio's open.
Yeah, Cassiopeia is definitely an opportunity here. Has been banned away against Swiffer, interestingly enough, but now Sayar can head towards it if he wants to. We know him as being a very proficient poison user, back from his 80 carried days. I just keep talking about him as a Twitch player, which is just unnecessary now as a mid lane. But Janna is going to be picked up. Arce liked what Chaos Lyon Gaming put down in game number 1. And he's going to be picked up, the Ashe Janna.
So already Lyon has a composition that is rich with engage, but rich with disengage. The fact that they can choose their fights from this point forward, and it's very hard to fight against them. You have to focus down the Cassio, but you can't because there's a Janna there. Yeah. And so Janna in the last composition that we saw from their Latin partners in Chaos Latin Gaming, I didn't like it. Sure, it had great team fighting, but it didn't have much tank. It didn't have really any tanks in that composition. Now we are seeing much difference from that. The Gragas pickup is going to do really well for him. But they're going up against what seems to be a shield composition from Chiefs. They have the Karma, they have the Shen. So from this point forward, they should draft themselves a lot of damage.
Whew, I got a little bit nervous there, Raz. The Hecarim wasn't picked up. It's going to be Elise for Spooks. A lot of early ganking pressure and control here out of the jungler of the Chiefs. You know what he likes to do, and now one more pickup here for Lyon to make, as that is your Chiefs roster. Going to be a difficult bottom lane, though, with Sivir not quite having the same range as the old Ashe, who can throw out those volleys constantly.
This is going to be a little bit interesting to see how the Chiefs do play out team fights against the Cassiopeia. With a Hecarim, they had the ability to dive that back line, and they have the shielding from the Karma and the Shen to be able to penetrate and just deal with that, deal with the back line in general, that dive potential. Now they actually gone the opposite where they cannot dive, and what they have to play front to back, be able to deal with the Lyon Gaming front line, damage them with either with Vladimir or I guess the Sivir as well. Vladimir can penetrate the back line. I'm just not too confident on his ability to make it out alive.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether he can go for a suicide mission maybe. Swiffer, get himself into the back line, get that Hemo Plague down and allow that ricochet from Raze to bounce off the front line into the back line as Sivir does want to do. But that is going to be the Trundle picked up for Giral.
Trundle's a perfect pick here. Trundle can just, it's good for the matchup, can constantly shove in Shen, trade well too, but on top of that, he can actually have a lot of pressure in TPing in these fights. Now, for Trundle players, you often want them to continue to split push. He's going to be building a lot of damage primarily, so you oftentimes don't want him to TP. But in this case, he has a lot of disengage and ability to re-engage and force the fights.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Spooks probably wouldn't have that big a grin on his face if he saw the fact that Oddie has a 50 KDA.
It's only growing.
I know. That's the beauty of only dying once. Because if you divide by 1, it just makes it an actual fraction, as opposed to a, divide by 0 situation like it was when Oddie had played his first 3 games. So thank goodness he died once, and has allowed us to do correct mathematics in working out his KDA, and that is a gigantic one as well. So this is going to be a big test for the Chiefs, and you've already mentioned composition-wise and draft-wise, looks good for Lyon.
Yeah, it does. So they have themselves a very fearsome team fighting, a very fearsome pick potential, and they can control their own destiny. If the game goes long enough, Trundle can control whether they are disengaging from a fight, obviously, since they also have Janna, and they can choose when to really force that, force those engages. Because right now, Gragas's ultis really aren't for disengage anymore because they have that option from Janna and Trundle.
Yeah, and we actually used to see this combination a heck of a lot. The Monsoon Cask combo with the Ultra Disengage, getting rid of everyone from the vicinity.
Yeah.
We certainly will be able to, as now Ejim and Raze trying to get aggressive. Don't find Arce and White Lotus at all. That empowered Q. Looked like its range was a little bit lower there from Ejim as well. Might want to get that looked at. Recalibrate the Q button.
I guess also Spooks is fairly happy he's not on that Hecarim, even though that would have given him the option to dive. If he dove a Janna, if they didn't insta-kill her, would have even ultied him straight all the way back to Africa, all the way back, much deeper than he would have wanted.
Yeah, well, and then the explosive cask even further. And then when he gets there, he gets an arrow to the head.
He would have probably found himself completely off the map.
He's in the enemy fountain. This is not where I parked my car.
About 2 hours of a journey just to find out where it is.
Well, thankfully, he's so fast on the Hecarim. He can run back to the team fight.
Yeah. Well, to the team fight, to just a disaster. Just fire everywhere. His team's not even just, they're just not alive.
Well, it doesn't sound like a great thing. Pretty happy that he picked up the Elise now. As his Spooks is going to be starting towards the top side of the map. Now moving towards his blue buff as Swiper heads back top lane. We'll see how the Shen-Trundle matchup goes for the Chiefs. As we can see, actually getting the early shove. As, my goodness, no Oceanians are awake right now. 6% to 94 is the prediction, which makes a heck of a lot of sense. I mean, 4-0, Lyon Gaming looking unstoppable. Haven't had a game go over 40 minutes as well. This team has been playing like beasts. I believe one of the shortest games as well belongs to Lyon at 26 minutes. Not sure how many have been faster than that so far. But cannot confirm. So don't take my word for it just yet.
So with the early shove that the Chiefs have given themselves, they're able to find out that, hey, Audie's actually in his own blue side jungle, which is a very good thing. Of course, doesn't matter if whether or not they can contest that blue buff. It just does matter that they know where Audie's going to be pathing. So that means that Swiper and Swiffer are going to be much happier knowing that if they do look to shove out, that they're fairly aware where of Audie's location.
Yeah. Well, we can see Raze and Ejim just collecting this minion wave. White Lotus looking for that auto attack onto the Sivir. Won't get it for now. There's a cute little combo of abilities there from the Chiefs bottom lane. Nets them all of those creeps quite easily. And White Lotus not able to answer too much back. And we'll see how White Lotus goes. Now not on his coveted Lucian pick. Won't have that extra mobility. We'll need to play back a little bit more.
Yeah, first time we're really going to be seeing him on that utility pick, especially with it not really having much pressure. Right now, he's going to be able to shove out, especially with Janna. But once Sivir does go back for that PF sword, and Karma continues her pressure, then they should that pressure should be on Chief's side to consistently shove in.
Yeah.
And look for those skirmishes, because actually they just have a lot of poke in their core. Usually we have Ashe secures a poke advantage, but if you're a Sivir Karma, it's not to be the case.
Well, swiping out. Experience lead. As Oddie looking for this counter gank. They probably know that Spooks is around the area, but he is going to move back into his jungle. Not sure whether Swiper actually saw him enter the brush there.
Definitely did not. If Elise is in the area, Chiefs should win the 2v2 simply because Spooks is much healthier, does have the red buff to his name. Now, Audi actually did regen quite a bit, but that's because he's at base.
Yeah,
so
that wasn't an epic potion that he picked up. That is called a fountain, Raz.
I thought he was just drinking from his cask in that bush. Definitely not.
He just never stopped. Press W and he just didn't stop drinking. That's dangerous. As Spook's actually looking for a potential dive here onto Gerald. Throws down the Jukin land, but not going to be able to quite find it just yet. Swiper not going to start anything, and Spooks realizes, yep, not quite tanky enough to try and help this one.
That was a bit creative. Okay, if they wanted to do this, then Swiper should have aggressively looked to it. Trade into Gerald as the wave was moving forward, but he didn't. So Gerald is full HP on that tower. So that's really a suicide look to dive in on him. And they recognized that fairly early and backed away. So at least that didn't turn into a double kill. That would have been fairly embarrassing.
Yes, I can confirm that one. Would be. But wasn't. It's going to be okay for the moment as Ejim finds Oddie. Body slams over, but does get snared. There's the cocoon from Spooks as well. As the volatile Spiderling needs to learn how to jump over ledges.
Yep. So that was actually very smart from Ejim. He's done this before up against INTZ. His ability to roam out towards the mid lane and really provide protection and either just warding or just presence. It's noted.
Yeah, I like it as well as far as that catch-up mechanic for experience is concerned as well. Does help out quite greatly. As Saya does now have that petrifying gaze. Swiffer may not want to just walk right into the front of this Cassiopeia too much more.
Mm-hmm. So this is something new. This is actually a first time that Audi has been really tracked in his jungling. A lot of the times his lanes do cover him, but a lot of the times the opponents actually don't make the effort to find out. So now that he is known, he really can't get the early pressure that we have been seeing from him in every game.
Oh, Swiffer actually looking for Sayer as well as... Oh, the flash out of the petrifying gaze! Stand United comes in, doesn't get the taunt. One more auto attack though, and Swiper grabs first blood on Sayer. That was sick!
That was really smart. On top of that, of course, he knew that once he got out of the pool, 100% Cassiopeia is going to look for the ult. Has to look for the ult. Otherwise, he loses out in that fight altogether. So that was really properly well played from him. And on top of that, great awareness from Swiper to be able to just recognize and back him up with that ulti.
Well, White Lotus doesn't quite have the ultimate just yet as there's the exhaust down. One more auto will do it as he flashes out of the way of Raze. But he doesn't flash after him. That is so strange. Because Raze normally flashes at any opportunity that he has. Didn't do it this time as Ejim now looking to stun up Arce, but the storm is down. These auto trades working out for the Janna like you would not believe.
So it's smart that he didn't, of course, flash in. He definitely needed to cape much closer to him. Just take the advantage that you get. You know that Ashe does have heal. So good move for the Chiefs in the bottom lane. A lot of pressure coming out of them now that they have shoved him off. They can look to invade, and it's perfect timing because the enemy blue buff is available.
Yeah, Spooks is going to turn up, help out. Oddie nowhere near, as Raze possibly could get this one, but no, Spooks is going to grab it. Might just leave a little Sentinel there as well. No, not going to. Going to make sure that he clears everything out. Full vision available from Lyon as well. They just couldn't do anything about it.
Exactly, which is a positive technically. The only positive that Lyon can actually get in all of this is that they know where Spooks is at. course, you lose your blue buff, which is awful for Casio. So they're just going to trade it. A lot of pressure coming in from Trundle as well in his own lane, so that's going to be fairly free for them.
Yep, both of the solo lanes actually moving down just to make sure that Oddie is not going to get caught out. So direct trade and pings down actually as well as Spooks discovered on the Krug camp, actually discovered doing his red buff, is going to mean that Oddie can continue stealing things away. Saya going aggressive, those Twin Fangs doing work onto the Vladimir.
Yeah, great state of mind for Audi to just, constantly look to pressure. Honestly, Lyon consistently do this. Their ability to use their lane shove and lane pressure as a whole to just get them more vision of the enemy camps. It's a positive. Now, of course, one of the only problems here is that they're just not winning out in their lanes. The bottom lane is getting shoved out, and now that the BF sword has come out from Raze, they just have a lot of pressure to their name right now. So these wards will start to vanish.
Well, Saya doesn't have the flash up just yet. Spooks was in the area. Ping's coming in towards that mid lane for the Chiefs as Oddie's looking top side. Saya, remember, doesn't have the ghost as Swiffer throws down the E. There's the pull as well as Hemoplague comes in. Spooks is going to get stunned as there's the arrow that comes in to help take that kill. Now Swiffer surrounded by Lyon Gaming members. No pull available, and that is 2 Swift kills for Lyon Gaming.
Yeah, that was what you call a team effort.
Oh, yeah.
Ash's perfect ulti from a bottom lane.
I'm pretty sure Arce also got an assist there because he shielded up the Ashe as the arrow was coming out.
That is hilarious.
That's pretty smooth.
So, of course, we were questioning how is Ashe going to showcase mechanics. Well, I guess that is one way.
Oh, you mean Janna?
Janna as well,
yeah.
I suppose. Janna, the Janna mechanics.
Janna-canics.
We were talking about the Janna mechanics in the last game.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
game, you just put down that shield. Easy bank.
Beautiful. But you're exactly right.
She's probably
mechanics working out well.
She's probably just looking at her gold value before and after that assist.
Well, the Chiefs do make it back towards the bottom side. Maybe without as much aggression now as that mid lane gank went horribly wrong. 10 CS behind is Swiffer at the moment. But Spectre's Cowl is completed very close to the Spirit Visage. And we'll see where he goes next, whether it will be the Proto Belt or whether he goes for something like the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Bit of CC to his name.
Yeah, Audi has been playing well. This has to be the most difficult game for him, of course, since he has been noticed. Lane pressure for him is fairly difficult. But of course, that counter gank really solidified how good he is as a player. Even though his movements early were tracked, that he's able to still be at the right place and still unnoticed.
Yeah. Got
that counter gank going for him, and of course, turned what would have been a very difficult gank in their favor.
Well, Swiper Stand United, not available just yet. We'll be up pretty soon, though. He probably wants to go back as well. I mean, that Sunfire Cape's got to be almost ready. Still about 10 CS behind, but has caught back up as Dural had a lot of spare time. Now teleport. Halfway done for Dural. Almost up here for Swiper, about 2/3.
Yeah, this is going to be a difficult game for Spooks from here on out, where his pressure, if he tries to gank Casio again,
whoa.
A, you got to expect Audi to be in position, but B, that's actually going to be a very difficult gank, especially if Casio has ulti. Then she can just say, maybe I'll turn on Spooks instead. So now he has to be aware. His mechanics have to be on point, because now he has to be in his spider form to be able to dodge out. It's very difficult to gank a Casio.
Well, Raze is headed back towards the bottom lane. On the hunt was popped, remember. White Lotus could possibly look for an arrow, but remember, Spell Shield is there. Raze can neutralize. Even CS on the bottom side of the map. Different story, though, for the top lane now that Trundle made his way back in. Oh, Spooks gets himself a Wolf Spirit. This is good news.
Yeah, it's very good. Not only did he get the gold, but on top of that, he gets to know where Audi is.
Well, there's a Hemoplague one more time as Stand United comes in. Saya completely out of mana, and there's the taunt. Swiffer gets the last auto attack, flashes out of the way. Arrow's going to sail by. There's a cocoon for the disengage, and the Chiefs, they nail it that time.
See, this lane is just popping Because at the same time, Swiffer, sure, he was taking what seemed like a bad trade for him, but he just throws down his ulti, has his Crimson passive up, so he's going to be able to do double damage with his Q and heal up much more. Seiya was out of mana, so he couldn't follow up, and then he has a Shen coming down onto the fight as well, so just bad timing for him through and through. Feels like Audi needs to pay more attention in this lane because it's just not working out, especially since it's constantly, it seems like a 3v1 or 2v1.
It certainly does, of course. Having Shen able to turn up in the nick of time whenever he wants to. Swiper as well, just so good at playing these facilitative tanks. CC bots, if you like, as now Chiefs looking to try and take down this turret. Will be first turret blood going over to the Oceanian squad. That is a very good start. Got the first blood, lost a couple of kills, and picked up one in the mid lane and transitioned into an objective. This is good play.
Yeah.
Should
have backed away a little bit to give Raze that full tower gold, especially since Spooks and Ejim won't be utilizing it. They'll fall off as the game goes on. Yeah, they're just going to be there for the utility. Raze just needs the full gold to go much forward for his build. Sure, he gets the Essence Reaper, but, you know, give him a little more so he can quickly get towards his Zeal item as well.
We'll see whether he does go straight into the Zeal item or whether he goes for that sort of change up in build path where you can build a much earlier Infinity Edge, try and get those crits over the back line a little bit earlier, or whether the Chiefs want to go for, you know, that 3-item power spike. You really get it together at about 30-odd minutes into the game.
It's the difference between looking for the team fight or just looking for constant towers and pressure and shove. Sivir right now can just decide to head topside, and she did. So it looks like right now the attack speed should be a lot more beneficial.
Yeah, I like it. So Dagger done, probably going to build towards Berserker's Greaves, then into something like a Phantom Dancer, as Jiraiya's going to get stunned. Oh, Ejim utilizing the empowered Q to go past the Trundle and slow him on his way out.
This is right now Lyon, you know, being caught with their pants down. Jiraiya is in the wrong side of the map seemingly because Chiefs are going to look to siege this tower.
Possibly could be an opportunity for Swiper on the bot lane.
Yeah, so Swiper's going to always be able to shove out. Ash is on that journey, that marathon run from the bottom side. So for anyone who's looking to catch the extension of the Olympics, we've just seen it. White Lotus finally getting to the finish line.
Yeah.
First place.
Of course, both teams watching him complete that particular journey. The Chiefs will know exactly where that AD carry is. Ejim sitting on top of a pink ward here. Shields himself up. He's going to be fine. White Lotus getting that Eye of the Storm removed by the Mantrid Q.
I mean, Lyon could have kept Ashen to the bottom side. It was a possibility if they wanted to give Trundle that solo, the experience and the CS. But of course, they have a Janna, and Janna can get dived. So it's a good decision to decide to keep this 2v2 and keep their tower alive.
Yeah. Spooks hanging out towards the bottom side. Oddie now looking to try and get some sort of pressure here up top. Remember, full summoner spells for everyone in this bottom lane that's now towards the top side. Raze and Ejim are just going to vacate the area. That tower could possibly be in trouble as Swiffer possibly commanding his team to head here towards the mid lane, try and get some pressure down there. I'll say it takes a fair bit of damage from the boomerang as Raze moves back towards this tower. Spooks and Ejim also doing the same.
So right now, Spooks has a lot of options available to him. He can either go topside, play towards catching out that Janna and extending your bot lane advantage, or you can go bot side, where Trundle is incredibly far out. Doesn't have many wards to protect him. Has that one pink, but even if he's caught out with that pink, he still has to travel all the way back to his tower at the end of the day. So Jiraiya right now, even though he's taunting him a bit.
Yeah, don't know whether you really want to be taunting him there, Swiper. I'm pretty sure he's bigger than you.
Definitely. And he can call his friends, his cousins. He can say, hey.
Yeah.
This guy is
not only is he the kid at school who's quite large and you don't want to fight, but he's also got all of the cousins and friends. It's Raze, really, really nice spell shield, going to save him there, but does have to go back to base as White Lotus. Lots of damage from this Ash. Ejim.
You know, I'd like to say that League of Legends is an extension of that school, where I know from back in my experience, you'd say, hey, you know what, you want to fight? Like, yeah. I was like, well, quite honestly, I want you to think it's a 1v1, but When you get to that battlefield, there's about to be 10 people raining down on you, so you gotta watch out. And then that tactic will be known, so this is gonna be a 10-on-10 fight. You just gotta be like, you know what?
That's a new game mode. 10 on 10?
10 on 10.
That's what we're looking for?
And that's what
Four-person bottom lane?
And that's what you call a team fight, my friends. That's a quick explanation for you.
That sounds very difficult to commentate. To me, Spooks and Ejim spotting out topside jungle here of Lyon Gaming, clearing out some pink wards, but they lose the top outer turret. As White Lotus just had too much pressure. He's behind in farm still. Pressuring out Raze meant that they could just keep pushing this wave up. Take that one down as Giral possibly getting looked at underneath this turret as Raze was tanking it up. Spooks has to repel as once again this dive not quite working out. Ejim falling down incredibly low. He's just so tanky. Almost has his Ravenous Hydra done.
You're in a bad position right now.
Well, yeah, Flash Body Slam's going to come in as Spooks trying to get himself out of the way. Shen's not even going to make it through. A Stand United was not enough of a shield, and Spooks can't just be taking down wards like that, I don't think, buddy.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like Lyon should have allowed that Shen ulti to come through and get the Shen on top of that because that was just a bad Shen ulti. Like Spooks is just caught out off guard. What they should be doing, they should not be diving the Trundle. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Especially since he has Flash, he can outplay. And if you're at least Sivir and Karma, what you should be doing is be trying to take down that tower. You have a lot of speed, and on top of that, the ability, since they are all range, to just chip it down. That Trundle should not be able to stop them from taking that tower. But one thing he can stop them from doing is killing him.
Yeah. That's playing into his hands, I believe, is the term.
Yeah, so that was just a poor decision. Swiffer just going to get run down here.
Yeah, just auto attacks as there's the
Ulti.
Q as White Lotus looking for the arrow. Flashes, gets the auto as well.
See?
That was stunning.
White Lotus, he knew like that the moment Swiffer is going to pool under that tower, he can just ulti him the moment he comes right back up. So what Swiffer needed to do is he just needed to flash in another direction.
He needed to press Ghost.
No, I can agree with you on that one. But he needed to flash not in a straight direction where the ulti is going to be going down, in an opposite direction, to the right, where he can actually dodge out in that. So, very difficult for him. Yeah, you can just ghost out. That's probably actually just the easier solution altogether.
Well, it's a solution.
Yeah.
You know.
One thing that's fairly obnoxious is White Lotus not only being on Ashe, so he just has his passive slow, but just having red buff on top of that.
Yeah, the double. That was nicely done as Ray's now looking to clear this minion wave out. As far as looking at these compositions, Raz, I mean, who has it as we move towards the later stage of the game? Is it Lyon looking for a split push with the Trundle and then ultra disengage and control with the rest of their members, or are they looking for team fights as well as the Chiefs?
Well, right now Lyon have they have great team fighting, but they can choose that team fighting based off of their engage/disengage. But the best thing about them also is that they just have a lot of pick. White Lotus on this Ashe, Audi on this Gragas. If they find one person out of position, they can constantly look to pick him away. So that's going to be fairly difficult for Raze as we watch this. Yeah, if he just ghosted right now, it would have been fantastic. But here's the thing. He pulls 100%. White Lotus is going to continue on this. Ashe ulti, flash in for the extra auto. If he had flashed in a different direction, wouldn't have taken up that damage.
Here's the team fight as White Lotus not going to get stunned by Swiper, who immediately gets exhausted. Arce doesn't have the Monsoon as Oddie just throws down the explosive cast. Doesn't get rid of Swiper, though, is still looking for this Shadow Dash and doesn't get it. No one to die. Big scuffle.
And the worst thing about that is that he kept chasing. If he's not going to be able to get anything off of that, and of course he's going to have to waste his TP to stop Giral from constantly pushing in.
What?
And see, that's one thing about Shen's... oh my god.
Giral, you skinny devil.
So yeah, that's one thing about Shen's nerf towards his Shadow Dash is that it's fairly slim.
Yeah, it most certainly is. As Giral going to get repelled on Spooks. A fair bit of damage here, but he does have the ultimate, and Giral's just not losing health. Can Spooks find the kill here as Swipe is able to pick it up? I think the Sunfire Cape did it in the end. He's now 2-0-1, but if that's a sign of things to come, it's going to be very difficult to deal with this Trundle.
And that's an Elise with an AP jungle item and with the Proto belt on top of that. So let's just look at this. Ejim gets caught out. He should be able to die, but he gets exhausted. So, of course, White Lotus is going to remain alive.
Good Monsoon there from Arce as well. Swiper doesn't quite get the Shadow Dash.
It's a bit greedy. If he had used that on the Janna, Janna 100% would have died. But they wanted to get the Ashe. It's a bigger bank. It's a bigger investment. Take out the massive 80 carry in White Lotus.
Oh, there's on the hunt popped as well as Raze. Fair bit of damage. White Lotus trying to get one back as the heals are traded. Oh, there's the flash from Egypt. Picks it up with the combo. No one was expecting the karma aggression on the bottom side.
This has been a nice gift in terms of just a mechanical play throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
We're just seeing mechanics all over the place. So really fun so far. But White Lotus, a little bit too confident. But you know what? That could have turned either way. Bit of a disrespect towards Raze and Ejim. Raze had to back away entirely. Of course, he still has flash to his name. But if White Lotus had moved a little bit too forward, he probably would have had used it. Out-damaging, out-pacing Sivir currently.
Yeah.
But once Sivir does get towards that IE, Phantom Dancer perhaps, can look to maybe take those fights continuously because Ashe will fall off in terms of damage to against Sivir. Can't handle the crits.
I feel like both like Sivir and Ashe have different plans. I mean, I feel like Ashe is a lot more single target, whereas Sivir just wants to be moving your team faster and really getting into more of a team fight situation.
Oh, I mean, right now, Ashe is not going to be single target by choice. As team fights start happening, Swiffer is just going to be diving into the back line, and Ashe needs to kill him while not taking half her HP. If Swiffer comes out of these team fights with Ashe very low,
there's the boomerang. Flash comes out as Swiffer gets himself in, but avoids the ultimate of Oddie. Everyone piles in. The Gragas is in trouble. No auto attack's going to come out here as Hemoplague's able to lock it up, and the Chiefs collapse faster.
Yeah, really well done collapse with the jungler down as well. 24 minutes into the game, they can start playing this Baron game. It's going to be a little bit risky. They don't have the tanks other than Shen, so if they take it, they need to be able to take the fights going forward. They're just not going to make that choice altogether. They don't want to deal with it.
Well,
it's too much of a risk.
Not going to be able to clear that ward out. That miasma stops him from getting anything done. Raze shoves this wave towards the top lane as Ejim's got caught out. He's just going to get exploded.
And I mean, even though the camera didn't catch it, that was off of White Lotus's ulti. His ulti is night and day if you're comparing it to the last series that we saw the Fox's ultis. He's been hitting them cross-map. And not even just cross-map, out of vision. He's been very smart, and I was questioning how White Lotus would be playing when he's off the Lucian, because it's fairly hard to showcase mechanics on Ashe, but doesn't matter how hard it is, he's showing it.
It's about hitting them skill shots, and he's certainly able to take down outer turrets in the mid lane as well. So that one falls down. The full outer ring now done. Even gold completely here, slightly in favor of Lyon Gaming, but it is so close.
Mm-hmm. It's been a bit of a back and forth game currently, which should work well for the Chiefs. Their tactic of playing front to back with their composition of being able to kill Gragas, it's going to be a lot harder to kill Dural.
Yeah.
But if they can reach the back line faster than, let's say, White Lotus can deal with the Vladimir, deal with the Shen, then Chiefs should win out in these team fights. But it just comes down to execution at the end of the day.
I think it does as well, and I feel like they have different plans in mind. Both teams set up quite effectively as this Baron has been started. The Chiefs looking to try and take it down as Oddie was towards the bottom side of the map.
Oh.
Can Lyon actually get something done here as the Baron's falling down low? On the hunt has been popped as Raze gets into the back of the pit. They want to just take down the Baron. They are going to as Swiffer falls down. It's now a 4 versus 5. Fantastic cocoon onto White Lotus as Spooks gets himself out. Swiper, oh my goodness, gets the Shadow Dash as now Raze is in trouble. Only Spooks and Ejim survive as the Empowered Recalls get Spooks back home. And have they sacrificed too much for the big purple worm?
That was such an incredible look to take it, because literally the moment they started that Baron, Dural put down his trinket, knew they were doing it, so Chiefs had one choice to make. Either they back away completely because they know they're outskilled in terms of team fighting, especially at this point of the game. They can't take the team fights, but they went for it. They went to burning down that Baron. They got it. They needed to back away. And so right now, Spooks and Ejim are the only one with that Baron. Could be a good plus for them. Depends how they use it.
Well, now Spooks and Ejim actually looking to try and get some pressure onto this Mountain Drake. White Lotus has moved away from that inhibitor turret on the top side of the map. I have a feeling he possibly could have got it as Ejim goes for a steal. Isn't able to find it there.
It was a bit of a bait.
Pushing up the mid lane.
It was a bait. If they looked to contest that dragon, it would have been knocked lights out for Chiefs. Their Baron, or at least their remaining one, would have just been gone and done. So they sacrificed it, and now the real question will be how they use the Baron going forward. Of course, they don't have it on their prime. Let's just look at the team fight anyways. Because right now, Swiffer's incredibly low, ends up dying, does a lot of damage to White Lotus, but of course, a lot of healing will come out of RC in this entire ordeal. So right now, it's just escape, escape, escape. Elise is already gone. Karma found a way out. So now the problem, of course, is that the only characters that really don't benefit from the Baron got the Baron.
Well, there's the arrow straight onto Spooks as Oddie now looking for the re-engage. Arso goes down to half health as On the Hunt has been popped just to get away from the enemies.
TP expended. Definitely cancelled. But as I said, the only champions that definitely do not benefit from getting Baron did end up getting Baron. If it was on Shen, if it was on Vladimir, it would have been perfect. They can really pressure their side lanes. But the fact that it isn't on them means that it's going to be a little bit wasted. So I think definitely Lyon won out. They were able to get a few kills, able to get Dragon off of it. And if they can hold on to this mid lane tower...
There's the flash body slam. Raised, delivered under the tower. Stand United comes in, survives for the moment, tries to kite it out as he does a fair bit of damage back. Swiffer now gets his way in. Good pull. Avoids a lot of that damage. Hemo plagues down but doesn't get any kills. Ejim's in here. They're missing so much damage though. And the Chiefs can't really affect this Lyon Gaming squad who are so incredibly tanky.
Yeah, they kept Raze up for a very long time. Expended Shen ulti. Expended that Locket of the Iron Solari shield. A lot of shielding came down to keep him alive for as long as possible. Maybe they can get the fight, but not enough damage being put down. And at the end of the day, Lyon keep that turret nice and tight, awake. Yeah. So it's a big positive for Lyon. They definitely won quite a bit because the Baron buff coming out of the Chiefs, not really getting much for them.
No, it was difficult when they did only have 2 members remaining with that buff. It was, in fact, the tower taken against the Tide towards the top side of the map. Now 4 turrets to 2 in favor of Lyon Gaming. Still need to break open this mid lane. Swiper hanging out towards the bottom side. Wants to get a push happening in that lane.
So they sped up the process of their, or at least their spike in terms of looking to team fight. Because Chiefs did go for that IE before finishing up the Phantom Dancer.
Yeah.
So even though they can't really shove as quickly as they could have if they went the opposite build, but they can definitely look to team fight as soon as possible. The last team fight didn't work out for them because they weren't really choosing it. Audi got the really good cask off.
Yeah, delivered raise underneath the turret. Not a whole lot he could have done there as he didn't have that spell shield anymore. Of course, that fight was without White Lotus as well. So Lyon really playing it out to the best of their ability. Red buff taken by Raze as Swiffer now waiting towards the top side. We'll see whether he can actually take down White Lotus.
Yeah, he definitely can't move forward. He noticed, based off of nice wards, vision placement, that Gragas and I suppose Janna as well were in the wicks waiting for him to shove out. So he just waited in the bush. If he had pushed a little too far forward, he would have found himself dead. So White Lotus was well protected.
Well, Sayo, you can see, throwing out these Twin Fangs. Building towards that big sort of 6 items. No boots for Cassiopeia. Already has 3 of them. Nomicon up first. Abyssal Scepter and the Raleigh is done. And now looking for that Seraphs, as that tier will certainly be stacked by now.
Yeah, so right now it's fun to see both Raze and White Lotus have farmed themselves up. A spectacle. 330 CS on both sides, 32 minutes into the game. So it's really difficult to pick a fight against Lyon. Cassiopeia right now has too much damage going for her. And on top of that, right now Ashe is a monster with how much damage she's able to deal out. Even has some armor penetration to her, which I think it's... which version of that? What's it called? Oh, still gets... stunned down. But which version of that item is it? Is it
the Mortal Reminder?
Mortal Reminder, that's what it's called. There we go. But yeah, Mortal Reminder, an incredible item up against the Vladimir. So right now it's going to be even harder for Vladimir, for Swiffer to really impact that backline. If he does look to just jump right in there, throw down his ulti, deal as much damage as possible, he's just going to get shredded.
Well, Egypt now looking to slow them down as Cocoon did land onto Oddie, but unable to follow up. Feeling like a little bit of a stalemate here. Teleport available from Giral, but Saya taking the blue buff. And find it a little bit more difficult.
That's good for the Chiefs. It's good for the Chiefs that they're in the stalemate because they just want to farm up. Right now, Raze is just trying to get to his item spike where he can be that monster 5-item, 6-item Sivir. So they can really take these team fights. Up until then, Lyon right now are sitting sky high.
Yeah, well, you can see Raze did just go back to base. Got himself the Execution in his calling as well as that Phantom Dancer. No more healing back from the Twin Fangs from Saya. It's definitely good news as it's all about the Trundle, denying him all of that regen. It's going to be working wonders if he can make his way towards the Sivir.
The difference between the split pushing is Trundle does not have a tower to really look to take, so he's just shoving out that lane so Shen can deal with it. And right now, Lyon have complete and utter control of this Baron.
Well, Arrow lands on Egypt here as they are looking for the engage. Oddie's going to be the one taking most of the damage, though, as Giral gets over the top. But good flashes. There's a Hemoplague. Swiffer has closed the gap. Monsoon comes down, and the Hemoplague goes off. No kills to come in. Giral big on the front line, and there's the block of the Iron Solari as well, keeping Lyon Gaming alive. Their health bars are just regenning, but the Chiefs also not looking too bad as the Baron is going to get started off. Lyon are just ripping it apart. The big purple worm falls down as now the Chiefs trying to do the same thing. Swiffer gets himself out with the dash cannon and Swiper makes his way towards the backline. Big exhaust onto the Shen as they take down the big tank. Now Raze is trying to cut it out, but it's a double kill for White Lotus. They've taken a fair bit of damage, but not enough. The Chiefs lose 2 for the Baron. And 2 kills.
Yeah, disaster for the Chiefs. That's not what they wanted, to say the least. So the fact that they could not win out in that team fight, the first team fight that happened where Ejim was stunned down but was up against the wall, so there was really no follow-up from Lyon to take that fight. Ejim's going to die here.
Yep, Arce just flashes on top of him. It's going to be the Trundle grabbing the kill. Only going to be a third one as the tower falls down on the top side of the map. Inner falls in the mid lane. Inhibitor turret to fall in the mid afterwards. And it looks like Lyon Gaming might be just looking for the victory here. Yep. Miasma goes down. Look at these creeps get destroyed as there is such a massive wave. Dash cannon flies through. Spooks has to repel as Swiffer gets body slammed. Look at the auto attacks onto White Lotus as another Hemoplague comes in, but Swiffer can't find it. Second Nexus turret falls, and that is going to be the ace for Lyon Gaming and the sweep of the Chiefs. What incredible play out of this team.
I mean, they're favorites for a reason. That was really strong team fighting, strong decision making, strong vision control as a whole. Lyon had the better decision while Shen was split pushing in the bottom lane. Trundle was still didn't have really an objective, a turret to take, but their objective was Baron. So the moment they had that massive wave shoving up in that top lane, Chiefs had to be able to push it back, and they lost full vision and control of Baron. Sure that their first team fight in that Baron River area was not the most disastrous, but they just went right back on that Baron, took it and took the fight.
Yeah, and I mean, this game was so incredibly close. For about 20 minutes, it was neck and neck. Gold Lead just switching between the two teams. First, the Chiefs grab the first blood in the mid lane. Then there's that phenomenal double kill coming in reaction to another Chiefs play. And then it all swings around once again. I mean, it was very, very close. We are going to have a look at some of these highlights. But Lyon just, after about 30 minutes in, or 25 minutes in, just looked like they couldn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, and this was this replay right here was the first mistake from the Chiefs. They went for the Baron, which should generally be a good decision, but of course they can't take the fight, and they lost it out. They couldn't really come out of this Baron take in a positive light, simply because the only ones that had Baron were the champions that specifically are going to be in that mid lane, so they were able to repel, or at least the Lyon Gaming were able to repel that mid push. And in this team fight, of course, it just comes back to Lyon being able to control the team fight overall. They have a better disengage, a better backline take.
Yeah.
And so Chiefs had no ability to penetrate that backline. Their only option was the Vladimir, who was swiftly countered. So really good look from Lyon. Yeah. And a good look from Chiefs as well. I think both teams coming out of this game look like favorites going into playoffs, or at least just going into playoffs in general, simply because Lyon Gaming have come up through the entire tournament looking like the best team, 100%.
Oh, most certainly. They're now sitting on 5-0. The Chiefs on 3-2.
Yeah.
Now moving into the next few games. Still a couple more to go. We'll still have an opportunity to get towards that playoff bracket, but Lyon Gaming looking untouchable on the top of the table after those highlights. And
yeah,
whew,
exactly.
It's just going to be very, very frightening. Only 2 more matches if this Lyon Gaming team. And whoever their victims are, I do not envy them because it's just looking like an onslaught.
Yeah, and any team that really goes up against Lyon, it feels like that is, I don't want to say a throwaway game because that team's looking too monstrous right now. If you can take the win, that's a great win for you.
Yep.
But otherwise, you kind of have to expect you're going up against a monster, a mountain of Lyon Gaming.
You
right
most certainly are. We have to reiterate as well, I mean, Lyon are coming off an incredible split. I mean, they played best of 3s. They went 10-0 in the regular split. They then won the playoff games, 3-0, 3-0 to get themselves here. Putting, as far as maps are concerned, leaving their region, they were on 26-2 as far as Summoner's Rift is concerned.
Yeah.
26 victories and only 2 losses, which they still won the series. Like, this is out of control. This Lyon Gaming team is on a tear right now.
Yeah,
and it's just continuing. They haven't lost once they got here.
And it's surprising. I think a lot of people wrote off this team because of how well the
previous
region has
performances,
played.
right?
Yeah, and on top of that, it's how well the region is in terms of they go back. Sure, they're the monsters in their region, but what does that really do? How does that translate on a wild card level, going up against teams and regions like Southeast Asia that they usually give out some really strong teams in terms of skirmishing and real competition in their region. Well, it seems like it doesn't really matter. Lyon Gaming come out, and they're just monsters. They've been together for quite some time.
They most certainly have. And, I mean, we have to reiterate as well where their power points come from. Oddie played once again fantastically, challenged a little bit more by Spooks this time than what we've seen previously. But White Lotus is so incredibly good, Raz.
Yeah.
That arrow flash auto attack to avoid Swiffer even being able to flash out of the way, like the calculation that went on there, like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And even though it's very easy to then say that, oh, Swiffer should have played that better, right? Because he had options that he didn't really give himself. It just comes down to the White Lotus is a confident player. There was even that bot lane fight, where he died. He was actually just looking to outplay. That was how much mechanics he had that he was just saying, you know what, we could take this fight. We can take this fight. We can take this fight.
Yeah.
So it took a karma flash queuing to really get that taken away from him. But this player is the star of this team.
He most certainly is.
It's hard to say that because, of course, there's Audie sitting right there. So, you have 2 stars.
Yeah, and Arce as well, playing fantastically. Seiya was a bit of a silent achiever this game. Didn't really get like the super flashy petrifying gazes or anything like that, but the fact that these team fights were going for so long, the persistent damage out of the Cassiopeia was massive because it was so brawly, so scrappy, with the fact that everyone's just flying around, explosive casts going everywhere, monsoons for disengage. The Spider Lady had the Snake Lady had so much space to move and really get those Twin Fangs down, but Seiya was just doing it from a distance, and all the rest of his team were kind of taking the glory, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel kind of bad for not knowing or remembering the coaches' names for that team and Lyon Gaming because that draft was really fun.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
That was fantastic. That was a perfect draft for them where they had a lot of strength in their lanes, but on top of that, their team fighting was probably the scariest one. And you see the stark contrast of how to use Janna, where I was really against the Janna pick for Chaos Latin Gaming.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to utilize a Janna pick. You have to be a really tight-knit team to get it working in team fights and how to really play towards objectives because it's really hard to start fights. But of course, if you have Ashe and Gragas, you don't even have that problem. And of course, they always had position on Baron, so that just worked out really well for them.
Yeah, and most certainly did. And I mean, I want to talk about the draft just in general because we can have a look over this side of the Chiefs as well. They managed to pick up the Karma once again. Last time this happened, the Chiefs didn't find a victory. It's sort of 2 Karma games now for Ejim where the Chiefs don't necessarily look like they have the engage in the right areas, because I feel like having it on Ejim does help the team out quite a lot. But the thing I really want your opinion on, Raz, is picking up both of your solo lanes second round on blue side, because it looked like they were kind of projecting what they were trying to get done, and it meant that Cassiopeia came in pretty quickly, which is difficult for a Vladimir to deal with, and then the Trundle against the Shen in that last pick.
I mean, we've just been seeing that around the world where people just don't really care about showcasing their solo lanes. And that's a positive. I think it's just the state of the meta where you end up counter-picking your bot lane because a lot of things is blind pickable.
Yeah, most certainly is. But we do have Hingers standing alongside for an interview.
Thanks for that, guys. Well, I'm joined now by Oddie from Lyon Gaming after their defeat of the Chiefs. Let me start by asking, you said yesterday you wanted to shut their mouths. Do you feel like you've successfully done that?
Empezaron por decir que ayer dijiste que los querías callar. ¿Crees que lo hiciste al final?
Creo en parte sí. El draft no nos ayudó mucho porque teníamos como una composición que escalaba y no pude hacer mucho. Lelis con la Karma me invadían cada rato. Fue el early, por lo cual yo tuve que ir a comenzar de los golems hacia azul y pues perdí demasiado de experiencia, pero no me llegaron a robar. Fue una victoria, pero no fue con un sabor de como que le ganamos muy fácil.
So in parts, yes. He thinks that he was a bit. He had a little bit of trouble with Elise and Karma, so he lost some experience. He had to change a little bit the way of games, of playing. So yes, he thinks it was a victory, but it was not like a full victory.
All right, and now you've gone 5-0 in the group. You're undefeated. Going into the next round, you want to be underdogs, but you really do feel like favorites. So what's your strategy for the remaining games?
Ahora ustedes llevan como 5-0, ¿no? Todavía se ven como underdogs, pero de igual manera siguen avanzando bien. ¿Cuál crees que es la estrategia para las siguientes partes?
Bueno, seguir estudiando los equipos, seguir practicando como siempre. Hasta ahora nos ha funcionado muy bien y pues no veo algo para cambiar.
They want to keep on training, they want to keep on doing the same strategy. They don't see studying the enemies or the next teams, so they don't see any reason why to change that.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, and that's all from us. We'll be back in a second with Chiefs.
Thank you very much, Hingers, and really good to hear Oddie's thoughts on the matchup. Still feeling like underdogs. Not entirely sure how that is even possible, as they've already managed to qualify themselves into that playoff bracket. I mean, it's already there.
That's just some mental gymnastics there.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks great as a underdog simply because you don't have that mass amount of pressure on you. You just keep looking to fight, but at the same time, they know that they are champions right now. They know that they're doing incredibly well and that they are the masters right now in terms of their group opponents.
Yeah, well, exactly right. And it's just been so impressive watching them from IWCI now to IWCQ and the growth that they've been through. But another team that's been growing is the Chiefs, and we are going to hear from one of their team members now as well. Take it away, Hingers.
Thanks for that, guys. I'm now joined by top laner for the Chiefs, Swiper, after that defeat. Let me talk you through. Let me ask you at the start, how do you guys feel like you played in that game?
I think we picked a very proactive comp, and they, I guess, were very disengagey. So like it was sort of on our terms to like make the correct decisions and plays, and we didn't get to use the Shen too well early game and like snowball into mid game, and then I think the game was still like in our favor. We could have won, but we didn't make the decisive calls that we should have.
I mean, there was one Baron, that first Baron fight where you guys took it, but then a couple of you died in the pit. I mean, do you feel like that was a worthwhile trade, or in retrospect, should you have disengaged pretty quicker?
I think that most of the time that sort of play works off for us. Like we cleared the vision very well, and like it was very sneaky, I think. But like they predicted us very well, and when we already committed, I think the correct decision was to keep on like trying to finish the Baron, which we did. I think we could have maybe saved a few more members, but I still think that was a good call from us.
Yeah. All right, well, for the rest of the tournament, you're one win away from trying to make it into the semis. What's your kind of thoughts and feelings for the rest of the tournament? What's your strategy?
I think we just can't let that game, I guess, get to our head because we still have a very good shot at making playoffs. I think that we should be able to take the win against Japan, and yeah, like as long as we stay cool-minded and stick to our plan, we should make playoffs.
Excellent. Well, a slightly more reserved assessment there from the Chiefs compared with yesterday. That's all from us now. Throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you very much, Hingers. And of course, there is a little bit of a stark contrast between Swiper and Raze as to how they talk about the games.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so I like the fact that when he was mentioning the Baron, whether it was a good decision, it wasn't merely much of a sneak. Literally, Droll put a board down the moment they started it, but that just comes down to communication.
Yeah, I feel like the scrying orb was there, yeah.
Yeah, that just comes down to the communication overall as a bigger point. But great take for them. I think for Lyon, yeah, that was the most we've seen them get pressured. So they're probably just thinking like, oh, you know, Davin, we still got the win at the end of the day, so we're happy about that.
Speaking of which, it is going to be White Lotus picking up the MVP as well. 7-1-4 on the Ashe. We had questions. He'd played Lucian 3 games in a row, looked entirely unstoppable. Picks up the Ashe, and it's exactly the same. And it turns out that White Lotus is just an Argentinian beast on any AD carry that you give him.
Exactly. Like sure, he was on Lucian for a while, but maybe Lucian was the limiting factor. You put on the Ashe, he was like, you know what? I can stun you, kill you. I have as many options as I possibly can.
Yeah, White Lotus has been unleashed. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to throw it to a short break. When we get back, game number 3 of Day 4's IWCQ action. Don't go anywhere.